It is amazingly and also very much interesting and joyful to get some help from Islamic Dawah team, from Muslim missionaries, from Muslim doctors, Muslim sheikhs, getting help from them to help Muslims to live Islam. It has been expressed that there are pressing questions people are asking. People are poking in for those questions now. It is time to answer those questions. It has been encouraging to see how sheikhs and Islamic Dawah team is helping Muslims to live Islam with the statements or with the informations they put forth. And as people are asking those pressing questions, recently Dr. Shabir Ali responded one of the pressing questions. As a Christian, we've been asking at Speaker's Corner for last couple of years. In 2016, I think it was, Dan Gibson put book together with the data regarding the direction of the prayer in early mosques. He looked at, I think by this time up to today, over 100 mosques, and he checked the direction of the Qibla, which is direction of the prayer. Are they facing to Mecca? As Muslims, when Muslims pray today, they turn their face towards Mecca. What was the archaeology in early centuries of Islam? And Dan Gibson puts material together and then data together by expressing none of the 7th century mosques are facing to Mecca. He talks about them to facing towards Petra. In this book, he talks about 4 different direction of the Qibla. And in this direction of the Qibla, he talks about Qibla towards Petra, Qibla towards Mecca, and Qibla between Petra and Mecca, as well as Qibla which is identified as parallel. There are apparently 4 different Qiblas in early century of Islam, yet today there is officially only one direction of the prayer, which is towards Mecca. So let's listen Dr. Shabir Ali as he's dealing with this pressing question people are asking. I'm sure he will give us very much satisfied answer, not only for himself, also for Muslims, so that they can continue to be Muslim. Let's watch this short video together.
Dan Gibson came up with this remarkable theory that Muslims initially were praying not towards Mecca in the lifetime of the Prophet, but they were praying towards Petra in Jordan, to the north of Mecca. And how does he come to this conclusion? Because he has studied the layout of some ancient mosques, and he has found that the earliest mosques were oriented towards Petra. But this has been answered by David King, who is an expert in the field, dealing with the early mosques and directions and so on, and early Muslim science. And his understanding is that the Muslims had an idea of how to locate directions based on the rising points of the sun and certain other astronomical phenomena that they recognized in their day. And so they oriented their mosques naturally with their idea of how the direction is to find Mecca. It wasn't their intention to orient their mosque towards Petra, but towards Mecca. And indeed, some of the mosques.
So, Dan Gibson, in his book, he puts together all the data. Of course, this book has been, I think, published in 2016. He puts together the details and the degrees of the mosques and their direction of the prayer. So here is the sum of the list. Of course, pages after pages you get to see. So what you see is you get to see the date of the mosque when it is built, direction of the Qibla, okay, and you can see Petra from dates in 7th century. So you've got a mosque in Egypt facing towards Petra. You've got mosque in Israel facing towards Petra. Mosque in Iran facing towards Petra. Mosques, you will also get to see mosques in China are facing towards Petra. And when you come approximate year, as you can see on the table, on the graph, as you move forward and come to year 727, you will get to see mosque which is facing towards Mecca. In 7th century mosques, according to Dan Gibson's material findings, that these mosques are facing to Petra mainly. So pages after pages, you can get all those details in his book. Of course, what he does is he kind of summarized in here for us. You've got from 1 Hijrah to over 100, 1 Hijrah to 125 Hijrah, mosques are facing Petra. Earliest mosque is facing the Mecca is 727 towards on, yet still from that time you do have mosques which are facing to Petra, which are parallel. That means neither facing to Mecca or Medina, but it is somewhere parallel to that direction. Or there are mosques which are facing a location between Petra or Mecca. The book is written very much well. You can even have the short list of the mosques within early century of Islam. Where are they facing? So this is the short list for mosques facing towards Petra. You can even see the degree of error. So average degree of error from Petra is 2.5 degree. 2.5 average degree. So here's the on the map if anyone wants to see. Mosques are facing towards Petra. A mosque in Egypt facing towards Petra instead of facing towards Mecca. Mecca is somewhere in here. Mosque in India facing towards Petra instead of facing towards Mecca. You can in the book all those degrees and all those values have been expressed. Mosques in this part of the world, this is like I forgot the name of this place. Dubai, those part of the world are facing towards Petra instead of towards Mecca. In China, mosques are facing towards Petra. In Samarkand, mosques are facing towards Petra. And here some examples. There are 8th century mosques. Some of the 8th century mosques are facing towards Mecca. And another example, some of the mosques from 8th century towards on, neither facing towards Mecca or Petra, they are parallel to that direction. So there are some mosques are facing towards Petra. What is the Muslim response to this? We get to hear from Dr. Shabir Ali. He expressed that David King already responded this by stating, actually, because of the sunrise or sunset or their other astronomical materials, the way they find the direction of the prayer. Here's the problem. If I am correct, I believe I am correct. David King only looked at 6 mosques in his research. A mosque in Damascus. Okay, you can see that you on the map, you can kind of think together where is Damascus. It's in the area of Syria. He looked at that mosque, and then he looked at the mosque today called as the Dome of the Rock, and then mosque in China. He looked at the mosque in Sana'a, Yemen. He looked at the mosque in Spain, Cordoba Mosque. He looked at the mosque in Iraq, Wasit Mosque. He looked at altogether 6 mosques, versus Dan Gibson looks at over 100 mosques. And the question Dan Gibson is asking, don't you find it's a bit strange that you've got 7th century mosques? They are almost they're pointing the same direction to Petra. To average missing guide is 2.5. And of course, Shabir Ali expresses the reason Dan Gibson's, the reason David King gives why those mosques are facing towards Petra. It wasn't intentional. It was because of the sunrise and or sunset. Here's the problem. Are we saying in 7th century people were very much concerned regarding the calculation of the sunset and sun rays to put their mosque? In somehow they fixed that in 8th century? Mosques in 7th century. None of those mosques in 7th century are turning their direction of the prayer towards where? Towards Mecca. None of them. But suddenly in 8th century they figured out. People in Egypt, in Fursat Mosque, people in Jerusalem, people in India, people in China, they didn't know where was Mecca, and then they missed the direction. They simply missed the direction. I find this is a bit strange and a bit amazing. Of course, let me actually just put the rest of the video and then we will comment on it. Let's get there.
South can be interpreted as facing Mecca or anything to the north of Mecca, including Petra. So what does, those who want to follow this theory that Muslims are praying towards Petra, what do? They ignore the fact that the southern mosques are facing towards Mecca, and they take that to mean that it's facing towards Petra. So it's a kind of a confirmation bias. They start with the idea.
So, yes, you can see in the map. Here's the map again. There are some mosques in south. They are facing towards to north. So it could be towards Petra, or it could be, according to Dr. Shabir Ali, it could be towards Mecca. But the problem is the people who live in Egypt, they didn't know where was Mecca. People who live in China, they didn't know where was Mecca. Is that the case? People who lived in Iran, they missed the Mecca. In mosque in Iran, okay, Masjid Ayatollah Khan Mosque, missed the Mecca for 22.39 degree. They didn't know where was Mecca. People who lived in Israel, Kirbat al-Minya Mosque, which is built in 706, misses the Mecca by 22 degree. They didn't know where was Mecca, versus it is very close to the Petra, 0.8 degree. Those people were traders. Those people were people who would able to find their way around in the desert. But they didn't know where Mecca was. They missed the direction. Mosque in Sana'a, built on 705, Grand Mosque of Sana'a, points towards Petra or Jerusalem. It is 0.36 degree missed Petra versus it missed Petra 8.8. I find that a bit strange and amazing. Mosque, one of the most called Kars Muhrab, face towards it's in Jordan, face towards Petra, and misses the Mecca with 40 degree. And because it was all about sunrise, sunset, and not intentional calculation, I don't think that is very, very much helpful. A mosque, another amazing example, mosque in Jordan, Humayya Mosque, misses Petra with 133 degree. How can this be? Because of sunrise or sunset? List after list, Dan Gibson gives us. Data after data, Dan Gibson gives us. And then tells us there are 7th century mosques, and sadly they are not facing towards Mecca. Yet today Muslims are turning their face, joining the prayer towards Mecca. So if we are saying in 7th century people in China, in India, in Jordan, in Samarkand, they didn't even know that where was Mecca, but by the 8th century people figure out where was Mecca, therefore they arranged their direction of the prayer in that sense. I am afraid to tell you that is not very satisfied answer. Not to me as a Christian, but even to Muslims, even to Muslim missionaries. There are better ways to come up with the answer. If we are saying, yeah, Muslims didn't figure out the full direction of the Mecca, which was very important to them. It took for them over a century to figure out that they need to turn their face towards Mecca in Saudi Arabia. That is not very much satisfying answer. As I said, all the details can be found in this with the methods, how they have people figured out. And I think in the video I didn't share it with you, but simply Muslims, especially Dr. Shabir Ali, discredits the author or the person who researched the material. Simply criticize him with his qualifications, but the research has been done, all the data is there, those things can be checked out. Even author Dan Gibson tells how he put those data together. I think those are pressing questions for last couple of years. It will be helpful for Islamic Dawah team, for Muslim missionaries to do proper homework and let us know what is the main reason those mosques missed the direction. I'm not here to defend Dan Gibson or discredit David King. It is not my area of qualification, but I am just asking the questions which alongside of me some of the Muslims are asking today. And Islamic sheikhs are telling us there are some pressing questions needs to be answered. So then the question is, there is 0 mosque in 7th century facing towards Mecca for the Qibla direction of the prayer. 0 mosques. why. But I must express my thanks once again for Islamic Dawah Team, Apostate Islamic Dawah Team, Muslim missionaries, Muslim doctors, Muslim sheikhs, for simply helping Muslims to live Islam, because you are not able to give them satisfied answer for these pressing questions which people are now poking and asking you to answer those very much basic questions. Once again, thank you very much.